and the feeling's right. There's a man with a dog in the park, smoking bowls and jumping the shark. How are you doing, everybody? It's just me chatting on the stream for the time being. It's an early morning stream, so maybe you're over there in the USA. It's time to go to Bobo's soon. Maybe you're already in Bobo's. Maybe you're up with the fucking early bird and you're doing a bit of work over in Europe. Or maybe you're just about ready to finish up work down in Australasia. How are you getting on, everybody? I was supposed to do a live stream there last Friday night. Ended up falling asleep, putting the kids to bed. Classic. Then I was going to do one on Saturday. Can't remember. Oh yeah, I ended up again falling asleep, putting the kids to bed. After I got back from the States, I felt very tired, trying to adjust to the climate of being here. Now look at this. Do you know what I mean? I remember in 2014, there was just a solid month of November where the sky was like this. All the leaves are brown, the leaves are brown, and your mommy's gay, and your mommy's gay. I scissors her last night through the Milky Way. Sorry, I mean, I'm 40 years old and I still have the same sense of humor I did when I was 12. Who we got in the chats? Purple Haze, how you doing? Landormer, good to see you. Excellent to see your handsome face once again. Thanks very much for fucking looking a bit haggard. Daryl O'Connor, Story Maloney, how are you getting on? I'm on Daryl. It's a good time for a stream, looking nice and cold. Mr. Furia live stream, says Purple Haze. I was very disappointed. Apologies, my man. No worries, Papa Shango, no worries. What was I going to say? A lot of big money around here, man. This area which I'm walking through. It's I think just for a fucking regular house, 2 down, 3 up job, you're looking at like 1.5 million, like one of them. Just like an average, like back in the day, you would have picked a house up. There's the green and white of Hammarby, the football's team. Hammarby job. What was I gonna say now? Yeah, it's when I came back from the States. You know, the funny thing is about Sweden, anytime you leave, you're like, Sweden, man, it's not a bad old spot. It's all right. And then when you get back, and it's like, oh, Christ, I'm in Sweden. And it's nice to be back, though. I mean, America was it was unreal, but there was a hell of a lot. I mean, it's like the last time I was in New York, like 12 years ago. You're just out all the time because you're thinking to yourself, well, I can't stay in because I'm in Manhattan, the city that never sleeps. But at the same time, what are you going to do? Like hang out in a coffee shop such as the Central Perk and be like, used to love to told you life was gonna be this way. Job's a joke, you broke. Your parents are both gay. Why do I keep talking about gay shit? You know, I really miss just being like, when I say gay, it's just it's a reprisal of like saying that back in the 90s. Like, oh, that's gay. It's nothing against gay people. It's just it's a funny word, man. I like it. And if anyone has any problems with that, I'll put me fucking back cannon up. I'll ram my cannon up their back catalogue. But Daryl O'Connor, never been to Sweden, but Ireland could get Norway or Finland in the Nations League next year. That's if there's fucking leagues of nations left, with the way things are going out in the with all the shit happening in Israel and Palestine. It's you know, if I'm totally honest, right? Boo Boo Dolls said to me in a pub back in 2009. We were out drinking in our local pub. It was me, Pete, and Tom. Tom just starts going, Rothschilds, Zionists. And we were all like, what are you on about, man? And of course, it sent me down a fucking rabbit hole. But there's a couple of mad bastards out there that are hell-bent on trying to start the war of Gog and Magog to crush Edom, which like all this biblical stuff, because you got to take into consideration Jerusalem is the site of the three main, or the big three. You've got Judaism, you've got Islam, and Christianity. Once the Romans, basically King Solomon's temple lies on the Temple Mount, and the temple was destroyed twice. The second time it was destroyed by the Romans, who then drove them out of what was, I suppose, is now Palestine or Israel. And then, basically, the Al Alexa Mosque, that is a holy site, is situated on top of where they think the remains of King Solomon's temple was. And you have lads over there who want to then bring the temple back, the third temple. But then you have you have the book of Revelations written by John of Patmos, an exile, who was writing this in a cave in Patmos in Greece. Some people say it was an allegorical reference to the current occupation, or the occupation of the Roman Empire at the time. Other people think it's a prophecy for the future, especially those crazy fucking Schofield evangelical mad bastards over in the States. But and then on top of that, then you have the Al Alexa Mosque, which is a holy site where they say that Muhammad ascended into heaven, and that was the last place that he was before he died, basically. So you have those three religious sites that all, weirdly enough, converge in the same place. And as Axl Rose would say, when everybody's fighting for the promised land. But the whole thing is a shit show down there. What Hamas did was fucking crazy. I saw footage of that. I do not condone violence from any side. You've been watching me long enough. I'm a man of peace, a peacemaker. And I fucking hate to see anyone being killed, especially innocent civilians. But what Israel are doing in Gaza, collectively punishing and carpet bombing residential areas. I don't know how many more videos do we have to see of dead children and inconsolable parents. Where's the condemnation for this? And on top of that, now, fair play to them. They've managed to, or Netanyahu and his Zionist buddies in Israel, but let's face it, the USA is run by Zionists in the financial area, in Congress, the lobbyists like AIPAC. They're fucking unhinged, and I don't give a fuck what people think. They'll be like, "How dare you? That's anti-Semitic." No, it's not anti-Semitic. It's a political movement run by criminals. It's a mafia. It's basically a controlled. It's a gang of criminals that have basically so much money and power that they can buy off or smear or slander, assassinate anyone who gets in their way. And it's wrong, man. And basically, it's like, are people going to grow a pair of balls and condemn it, or are they going to just go along to keep their fucking job? And it's like the cowardice of human beings. It's a lot of revolutionaries that have come and gone, people who have changed the course of history for the better, are only recognized by the majority when it's safe to do so in retrospect. And I think what's happening now will be looked at as one of the most pivotal points in modern history, especially considering that civilians are being indiscriminately targeted. And the amount of people that I see writing online saying, "Oh, well, if Hamas hadn't gone in and murdered innocent civilians, this wouldn't have happened." Yes, what they did was wrong. Like I said, the targeting of innocent civilians is fucked up. At the same time, this conflict has been going on since 1975. I mean, it started after the Balfour Declaration of World War I, where basically the Rothschilds involved America by going to Lord Asquith, who was the Prime Minister of England, and then said, we can win this war if we get America involved. They managed to get America involved. A lot of America, I mean, it was hundreds of thousands of Americans were also killed. They managed to beat Germany. Then you had the Treaty of Versailles, where the Germans had to pay off all of the nations that had fought against and occupied, which then led to the carving up of the Prussian Empire and the hyperinflation and World War II, which then led to the events we see today. But 1948, when Roosevelt declared the State of Israel as a nation, that's when the Nakba, or was it Nakba? Oh, Nakba, no, forgive me for getting that one wrong. The Nakba, is it? Where basically 750,000 Palestinians were driven off their land, murdered and ethnically cleansed. I mean, these things have context. But to say that all this started on the 7th of October would be to completely negate what's happened in the past. So for me, as a peace-loving, good-time boy that wants to see everyone getting on well, it's a very sad and unfortunate state of affairs to witness. And I know this is very heavy going for the beginning of the morning, but this has been on my chest for a long time. And, this essentially is another front that's been opened up between the East and the West. And the fact that the long-standing enemies of Shia and Sunni Muslims are now coming together and coalescing as one. We're looking at something that could escalate. I mean, I just can't. We're led by the worst people in humanity. Where are the adults in the room? Where are the people who are willing to broker peace? Peace doesn't sell. Peace is it's the money is in war. The money is in lending countries the money. Like, if you control one side, you control the outcome of the game. But if you control both sides, you control the game. And that's how these fuckers have been making money, from basically pitting countries against each other and selling weapons of death. Fuck them. What they all need is a good bumishment. And I'll fucking tell you, I'll take one for the Justice League. Or as Dr. David would say, the town's finest scallion will be used as a suppository to administrate the bumishment, if the bumishment is indeed deemed a risk to health and safety. That would certainly be an ecumenical matter. Oh yeah, Purple Haze. WB 1990, good morning, Mon. Channel banning coming, talking about the Zios. Fuck the Zios, man. I'm sick of their shit. It's been going on for years. You know what I mean? Like, they're a bunch of fucking cry bullies going around fucking, bombing the shit out of someone and then being like, look, America, please help us. It's like, they're fucking dickheads, man. They're dickheads. And like, there is, and before people start going, oh, anti-Semitism, it's like the people of the Levant and what was known as Palestine they are descendants of the followers of Shem. It's like most of the Israeli cabinet are fucking European descent. Like, the Palestinians and the Oriental Jews and the Christians that lived there prior to the Balfour Declaration and the let's just call it what it is, the fucking colonialism of the state of Israel, were all living in relative peace and harmony before this fucking shit happened. And I have friends from Israel, and this isn't something personal against them. And I think even Israel itself was on the verge of a civil war. But as Gerald Celente would say, when all else fails, they send you to war. Like, Netanyahu is a fucking right-wing authoritarian dictator that would happily sacrifice his own people as a means to an end. And I think they were trying to get him out because he was changing the laws in Israel. It's like people, I can imagine like living in Israel and you're like a kind of a regular working man or woman who just wants to get on and live life without the fucking constant specter of like rocket attacks and airstrikes. It's just, most people want to get on and live their life. But there's a small fucking minority that are controlling the power that just fucking seem to want war at any cost. And if I'm fucking blacklisted for saying this, I don't give a shit. What are you gonna blacklist me from? You know what I mean? Like Hollywood. Don't want to be part of that fucking viper's den anyway. Bunch of fucking grown ass men and women pretending to be other people. Christian Bale lost 3 stone for his role in The Fighter. It's like, good on you, man. You got well paid for it. You know, like, this fucking bullshit. I don't care. I think, like, it's a moral obligation to stand up and call out crime when you see it, or call out injustice. Like, the amount of gruesome pictures of dead kids, and they're just seen as terrorist accomplices. Where the fuck are these people supposed to go? Like, they're put into a piece of land that's half the size of Carlo, densely populated with 2 million people. They're not allowed to go out through the Egyptian border because that's controlled by the IDF. They're not allowed into Israel because that's also controlled by the IDF, and they don't want them there for obvious reasons. And it's like, where the fuck are these people supposed to go? If you drive them, if they do leave the only piece of land that is recognized as their homeland, which is that small strip of Gaza Strip, if they do evacuate that land, then it's gone. They'll be like the Palestinians that have been living in Jordan or in Egypt for the past 75 years. It's like, you can't blame them for wanting to stay in their homeland, even if it is a complete fucking hellhole, open-air prison concentration camp. Yeah, so that's my rant there. I didn't mean for it to be so political and heavy, but it has been a weight on my chest, and I feel like, me personally, if I don't, like, I mean, the impact that I have from speaking isn't, let's face it, it's not going to be seen by many, but the people who I am talking to, I hold dear, and, you know, and I think the majority would share the same opinion. Like, at the end of the day, what I would like is peace, and it's an ideological, or it's a utopian ideal, and it's never going to happen. But at least if you try and make it happen, it's better than just dragging the whole world into a conflict. I am Traumatic 96. Good morning here from Wales. Good morning to you from Sweden. Old school champ manager tactics, says Landormer. Take control of loads of teams so you win all the time. Great tactics. Well, that's how record labels would take out the competition. They would sign a band that would be rival to the band that they are aiming to push, and once they're locked into a contract, pull them back while they promote their competition. It's similar, you know. And man, there is good in there's more good in this world than there is evil. There's good, evil, and then there's apathy in the middle. And if you're willing to make money from selling weapons and creating war, you know, I mean, like, there always, I suppose, needs to be a balance. Like, if everyone was good all the time and everyone was considerate, then I suppose the world would be a more boring place. But there is, you know, the struggle between good and bad will always happen. It's like night and day. There can't be one without the other. But I don't know, going very philosophical about it now. But the States was good crack. On a lighter note, I had a good time over there. They were fucking assholes at the immigration. They were like, you know, they treat you like a criminal before you go in, and then you're like, okay, so you're treating me like I'm trying to somehow overstay the visa and stay there illegally. It's like, why would I want to do that? You know, and you kind of think to yourself, right, Manhattan was cool, but at my age, I don't think I'd live there. You know, like, there's great opportunity in the States, and there is good living, but I'd say there's an awful lot of hassle you'd have to deal with. You know, But like the by and large, the American people are a great bunch, you know. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be moving from here anytime soon. So I just have to fucking suck it up and deal with the autumnal season of being in Sweden. Daryl O'Connor, stop the immigration crack is mad, especially in Dublin airport. I'm still in my own country. Esther application actually asks, are you domestic terrorist? Yes or no? Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, like, they're fucking ridiculous, like. I mean, and the ironic thing is, you can just waltz over the border down south, be given a phone and put up in a hotel if you're lucky enough. You know, and it's like, oh, you'll have a court date in 7 to 10 years' time. It's like, it's a fucking joke, man. I mean, like, it pains me to see a country that I looked up to for so long falling apart because it's run by absolute crooks. You know, like the fucking... Look at Biden as he's walking around the place. Just, he's... The man should be in a retirement home at best. I don't know, it's fucked up. As my mother would say, I just see a lot of things. But I thought I'd do this live stream this morning because I'm actually supposed to be playing music tonight, if I can arrange it, the things that surround it. But I've been working on the Hardy book. I know I was supposed to have a couple of episodes of the Hardy book written by now, but I think what I want to do is have it done and out before Christmas. So I think if I just focus on the writing of it, and afterwards I can just make an audio book of some sort. But I would really like to get that done and dusted because it's been a long time now. Especially now that the summer has gone and the winter's rolling in, there's not really an awful lot a man can do. It's like, it gets dark here so early that you feel like 4 o'clock in the afternoon rolls around. You're like, oh, it's too late to be going out. Fuck that. So we will see. But it's going well. Yeah, it's going well. I was talking to Mike, my brother-in-law, Mike Kane, the director of the Hardy Books, and I've got a few episodes written, and fingers crossed we'll do a few episodes in April. You know, I even if there's no budget, I think what we'll do is we'll come together. Spoke to Owen, Pete, Tom, Stevie Kelly, and I think we just make it for the fun of making it. You know, the reason, you know, the thing is, when you do something for the love of it, you get better results. But when you have to do something for the money, it puts an added pressure on it. But I think doing it for the want of doing it is, like, I would like to do it. I would like to make some cinema verite and be absolutely free of the restraints of producers looking over your shoulder, telling you what you can and can't say and what you should be putting into it. And I think we just make it for the fans and we make it for ourselves and see where we go from there. But it's difficult for me to get the time away because of parental obligations. So I'm not as footloose and fancy free as I was. Because I tell you, if I was, man, I'd be in Miami, hanging out with fucking Will Smith and the boys in the back of a Bentley going, welcome to Miami, fucko. Barry Brennan, thanks very much for the super chat, kind sir. Mugatee, lad. Oh, come here, with the fiver you get a fucking whole box of fucking berries and make them. Oh, I'd be making tea. But I tell you one thing about New York, the smell of ganj is everywhere, man. Apparently here in Sweden they're toughening up the rules on weed. Some people are saying you can get 6 months in jail for smoking a toot of the jig-jag. And that's wrong, man. Everywhere else is moving closer to legalization. I mean, like Sweden of all places is one of those, is somewhere where you'd think it would be monetized and taxed to bits. And I think for those who like to smoke the Chronicle, they'd be happy to pay the extortionate taxes for the privilege of being able to smoke. I don't know, like, to be quite honest with you, the smell of ganj everywhere was somewhat nauseating after a while. Legal to grow for personal use here. Where is that, Lan? You're down in Oz now, are you? Or is it you're back in the UK? Purple Haze, yeah, for real. That is a big cash cow for investors now. Yeah, because like if you go down to Copenhagen, it has for many years been a place where you'll see people just sparking up the sleepers, and you got Christiania there, and I think, to be honest, like when I was there last September, that time I did the live stream, there was a lot of like heavy drug use, like heroin addicts, and I saw a whole gang of them congregating, chasing the dragon off tinfoil, and one of the lads at the wedding I was playing at said they saw a woman walking around with a hypodermic syringe hanging out of her arm, streaming blood, and it's not a good look, let's face it. But apparently they do have places where heroin users can go and be monitored. Like, it's a very unfortunate thing for society to see fucking people on heroin, it's but rather than treating it as a criminal issue, it needs to be treated like a psychological issue. Or it's if people need to, I keep saying people all the time, and I'm being mindful of the fact that I'm quite repetitive, but let's say individuals that are unfortunately hooked on hard drugs such as heroin, they are because they're trying to escape something. Their reality, for whatever reason, is it trauma from childhood? Is it depression? Is it the stresses of the modern world? And unfortunately they resort to escapism, and maybe it starts off with alcohol and weed and other drugs, and then like I don't think any of them intend to set out to become heroin addicts. And now, like you see in the States, there's 100,000 fentanyl overdoses per year, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. It's like the authorities haven't got a handle on it, and you kind of think to yourself, is it allowed to happen? It's, I don't know, that's my conspiratorial side. It always goes to, I mean, is it in many ways like what England did to China during the Opium Wars? Is it something China's doing to the US to destabilize the population? But I think the US has fallen from the inside. I think the enemy is within the gates. Same with UK, same with Europe. A fractured and unhappy society is an easier society to rule over. It's a pretty serious stream this morning, and I'd like to keep it a bit more upbeat, but it is a bit. This is what I see around me, This is what I'm consuming. I'd like to be able to sit there and watch funny cat videos. Speaking of which, I did see a funny cat video. Speaking of funny cat videos, of a orange cat talking like a somewhat angry Japanese elderly man, saying, "Oh, mother, oh, mother, baby, no." And I must have watched that video about 50 times, because I did indeed get a good laugh out of it. Brother Hurst says, man, fentanyl is messed up. Lost a friend to that shit. Sorry to hear that, mate. But yeah, there is a... Yeah, but you see there, I heard a story about two Irish lads from Dublin that were on the waffle dust one night. And they reckon that it was laced in fentanyl. And the two of them were seen, like, basically, there was the couch, the table, and the balcony door. And the two of them were found dead beside the coffee table because apparently in the midst of a fentanyl overdose, people can't breathe, you know? The George Floyd incident. So they were trying to get out of the... It was assumed that they were trying to get out of the house and onto the balcony to get fresh air, and the two of them dropped dead. It's crazy. I mean, apparently the fentanyl was used as a painkiller for terminally ill patients and that kind of thing, and the fact that it's so potent and it's synthetic means that it's easier to bring in, whereas like traditional I suppose drug importers would have to bring heroin in bales that are easier to detect, whereas this stuff, you could, like, a half a kilo would be the equivalent of, I suppose, 20 kilos of heroin. So it's not good, and I don't really know what the remedy is. I mean, like the whole war on drugs that was started under the Reagan administration just made things worse. And like I said, the policies and how you deal with drugs needs to be taken from a point of view of socio-economic and psychological or health issues rather than criminality. You know, if you're going to give a drug user a criminal record, you're further compounding their sentence. You're taking away their opportunities to progress and move on to a career path, or to be able to get a visa to move away, you know, these kind of things. You know, if you criminalize someone that is going through something and needs to use drugs as a crutch or a method of escape in reality, by condemning them with a criminal record, you're only going to make their situation worse, which reinforces the negative spiral. Bad fucking shit, man. So Purple Haze said he didn't even know he'd OD'd. It was laced in his cocaine or some shit, but more likely ketamine. There are so many homeless people here that I knew in high school completely zonked out on heroin and fentanyl. Yes, absolutely, the politicians need to change, especially drug treatment. That's why a lot of people relapse, because that's basically like a black mark on your permanent record. Well, there you go. And if you listen to the song that is now nearly 23 years old by System of a Down, Prison Song, you know, utilizing drugs to pay for secret wars around the world. Drugs are now your global policy. Now you police the globe. I buy my crack, I smack my bitch right here in Hollywood. And that song is as relevant today as it ever was. But yeah, what can you do, lads? What can you do? But I'm going to go and do a bit of writing on the Hardy book. But I wish you all a very pleasant day, and I hope you have a great weekend. And I know this has been more of a heavy topic, dealing with war. Check your lore.